What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since I've had you all here, so I want to thank you for assembling with us tonight as we give you guys our origin stories. This is chapter one of a three-part series where we gonna come, four of us gonna come together, give you guys our origin story, let you know where we started and where we are today. So I thank you for being here tonight once again. Tonight, got some great guys here with me. I got the Ben Buster, Jagoda Blue 7, who's trying to get it together. And we got Kal-El Daily here. What is going on, you guys?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Dakota, get it together. What's going on?
Doing well, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Damn,
Oh, looks like Jagoda fell out.
Police was behind him too. So, I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, he got to keep that camera down in New York. You know, you can't have that exposed. But
Oh,
nonetheless, man.
that's the thing.
Thank you guys for being here. Kal-El Daily, thank you for putting this together, sir. Definitely
Man,
appreciate it.
no problem, man. I think it was a team effort. I
It
mean,
definitely
we
was.
got
It
to.
definitely was.
I can't take all the credit. We got it. That wouldn't be right. But it's a pleasure. I always have fun with each and every one of you guys. It's been a long time coming with each and every one of you guys, so it's awesome to do something together again.
Hey,
Yeah. So,
second time in a month we've done something together. So
yeah.
we did house party. So
Plug that, Ben. Plug it.
if you guys haven't checked it out, check out my last month's rewind where the four of us talked about house party. It was a good time. You guys will all enjoy it. There we go.
Thank you for that. But again, to everybody that's watching, like I said, this is a three-part series. So this month we're going to talk about the beginning and where we are today as far as collecting. And then next month we'll assemble once again right here on the channel again for chapter two. So, you know, be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're following all four of us so you can be informed of when that video will be getting put out. So you can join us again for another great live stream. So I hope you guys enjoy tonight. And thank you once again to Movie Hunter as well for doing a few things in the background for us tonight. So thank you, Movie Hunter, always supporting each and every person in this community. Thank you once again. So you guys,
Hunter.
for those that may not have a clue of, you know, where you guys come from, how you started your great collections that are always behind you in your videos, let's get into it. You know, let the guests know what got you into collecting and can you describe that moment for them?
Okay. Who want to take the lead? You first? Me first?
Go,
Well,
Cal.
I mean, okay, you can go, Cal.
Okay. Excuse me. Well, what got me into it is just really like I think the common theme is just movies. Just loving movies and wanting to own and be able to watch what I wanted to watch at any given time. There's nothing like just having it there right in front of you at any given time, opposed to, like even I started in a time when we were renting movies. So even back then, there was actually a time where you couldn't even buy certain movies, like certain standard movies you probably could buy, like the Batmans, the Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. You could buy, but there were like horror movies or other action movies and stuff like that that if you did buy them, they cost you $100. So, quiet as kept. I used to dub, and if anybody know what that is, that's dub. And so that's where I started with the VHS days, and I just built there. I think I think all of us have that. Some may call it a sickness, but all of us have that collector thing in us. And if it wasn't movies, it'd probably be something else. But I, it's hard. I've been collecting movies ever since I can remember. So it's hard. I remember some of my first movies, but it's hard to say. And I don't know. That's how I got started in collecting.
It,
What
for
about you,
me,
Ben Buster?
it started off growing up in a house that loved movies. My dad worked when I was in middle school, worked at Blockbuster, so I had access to all the movies I could
Wow.
ever rent. So I would go in after school and be like, "Hey, just hang out until he was done." And his boss was like, "Hey, run these movies back. You could get a couple free rentals and something to drink." I'm like, "Okay." So I was put to work doing that. But I mean, I didn't start collecting movies until I was my senior year of high school, and you're talking that's 2003. because my collection, my first thing I ever collected was actually, first of all, comic books. I have almost the complete set of the Knight's Fall, Knight's End, and Knight's Quest saga, where the one where Bruce Wayne, Batman's back gets busted by Bane, and we get Azrael Batman showing up in there. That entire story arc I almost have now, so that's what I was starting to do. Then again, went into Three Stooges memorabilia, and then shortly there, towards the end of like I said, 2003, started going more towards the movie side when I was venturing out on my own, going to college out of state, and needed something to occupy my time when I wasn't studying. So since 2003, it's been movies with the M&Ms are all Christmas gifts. All my M&M collection are all Christmas gifts from my family and friends. So yeah, so that collection grew on it naturally on its own because of Christmas and birthdays. But it's all started with comic books of the Three Stooges.
Nice. Cal, did you give us a date? I like how Ben gave us a date of when he started. Did you give us a date? I can't remember.
See. You know how? See, I know you have a thing about top fives and how hard it's for you. It's hard for me to pinpoint. I didn't start keeping track of what's the first this, what's this and that until maybe the DVD era. Like, I honestly, when I say I can't remember, like I can name you some of my first VHSs: Beauty and the Beast, Batman Returns, Rage in Harlem, House Party 2. Just there was just a Terminator. So it was just and remember when I told you guys you couldn't get a lot of movies. So like the Superman, the first time I had them, I had my uncles had taped them for me, and that's around the time I learned how to dub movies when I probably was about 6 or 7. So it's like that was always the beginning, and also too. I like the way Ben went into about other stuff he collects. Like I'm really into a lot of the older games, so everything up to about the PS3, Xbox 360, I tried to go back and I'm actually trying to do a full collection on Dreamcast. So it's tough, but I've always collected games.
We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Hold that little piece of the conversation. We're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah,
but Jagoda, you're still. Oh, go ahead, Cal.
No, I'm sorry, but the thing he said about the Blockbuster. Ben was fortunate enough to have that parent in the Blockbuster. See, we had Blockbuster, but Blockbuster was full of stuff. You had to have the credit card. They always wanted. It seemed like there was a lot of fees. So our spots was a lot of mom and pop spots, and those stores. I think still to this day, a lot of stores we go into, they know us, and even as a kid, they knew when I was coming. So like that's also a great memory as collectors. I think like the stores, the people around us they just know us when they see us coming to these stores.
So in other words, you're telling us that those mom and pop shops for you, Cal, hit all the good stuff behind the curtain.
No, not just that too.
Not any curtain, that velvet curtain.
Oh, y'all doing that? But yeah, I've been the posters. And they used to, because like I said, they weren't allowed to sell tapes, but they sold me tapes for a pretty reasonable price, like $10, $15. So yeah, yep.
All right. So Jagoda, you're still kind of the new kid on the block. A lot of people may not know your story as opposed to ours, who they've seen on a bunch of streams in the past. So, now that you're kind of, bringing your way back in front of the camera, go ahead and give us your background just a little bit.
Yeah. So actually, funny thing is, I'm probably am newer because I didn't start collecting movies until 2009, 2010. Now, I always a person that I loved movies. I went to the theaters and, watched tons of movies as a kid, TV shows, things like that. But what got me actually into collecting was two things. One of my friends in school, he had somewhat of a, smaller collection. And I thought it looked cool, just naturally cool. And when I went to FYE, I found out about what FYE is a store. I went to FYE and I started seeing old titles that I remember watching back when I was a kid, like 90s and stuff. And that nostalgic got me to be like, oh, I want to grab this. I want to grab this. That's why I'm like the weird person that shouts out Red Sonja a lot, because that was like one of the first few movies that really got that fire burning. Like Ben was saying, he had collections prior. I've always had a collective spirit nature about me. So prior to movies was basketball cards, action figures. So eventually when those kind of died down, I'm sure it left room for something to come in. And once I started getting into movies, buying DVDs, and then, you know, upgraded to TV and learned about Blu-rays, that just took off from there, you know, and everything that Blu-ray offered, it was kind of like this itch to get the movies. And then me and Cal were talking the other day about, you know, how Blu-rays has, you know, the trailers for the movies on that 4K don't. Like that got me into getting one more movie. So I think it for me, it was that big nostalgic moment of being able to rewatch all of the things that I watched growing up at any time I want, you know, and it's right there on point. And then I think that I love seeing people's collect. I love seeing a collection because it's like with a lot of stuff that we do, it's like, you know, we can get something, but we don't necessarily have the ability to look at it on a daily basis and kind of wow over it. But when you have a collection and it grows and grows, you can see the growth, you can see the change in it. Like all that is, I think every aspect of it becomes fun. Like it just snowballs into other stuff. So that kind of was my journey.
Inspiring.
Awesome. Yeah. And for me, it's kind of the same thing. I'd say, you know, to give a date of how far back I kind of started, it was like 95, 96. Moved to a different side of town, met a guy, started going to his house, and you know, they had so many VHSs and DVDs lined across the wall. And you know, I was wild by it. Started going to, they would go to the movies all the time, so I would go with him and his dad or him and his mom to the movies all the time. So that's what kind of got me into it. I would see it over there all the time, sit over there, watch movies, go to the movie theater with them. And then throughout the years, all the way till I graduated high school, almost everybody worked at the movie theater around the high school years. So every Saturday, even during middle school, we was typically at the movie theater. So movie theater has just always been with me since then. That's why I still enjoy going today. You know, it's more of an experience. Of course, owning is, you know, what we mostly do, but you still always want that experience also of the theater. But he's the one that got me into it, you know, going to Circuit City. You know, I was too young to really own it like that. So just like Jagoda, and I think I saw Dell in the chat say it, dubbing was kind of my first venture into it. You know, going to Blockbuster and the other little small rental shops and renting VHS, having that double deck VHS sitting on top of each other, and you know, recording the movies that I was renting and the wrestling tapes and all that good stuff. And I would just record it and, you know, hold on to it as long as I could. I think the first movie I actually purchased in store was, I believe it was at a store in the mall. I believe it was a record store that also had movies. I believe it's Coconuts, I think. It was Night of the Living Dead. That was my first purchase. So that's kind of my venture into this whole thing. It's been on and off for me ever since. I'm not a completist or anything like that. I don't hold on to stuff for very long. I hate seeing just a bunch of stuff. So, you know, I see people in the background. I love seeing people's big collections, just like Jagoda said. You know, it's awesome seeing things like that. That's why I love this Heat Street show. Just like seeing people's backdrops and, you know, seeing stuff that I don't remember from back in the day or I didn't see before. So it's always cool. But me, I can't have all that stuff. Like, it drives me crazy seeing a bunch of stuff like that personally. So, you know, there comes times where I just get rid of stuff. I'll throw stuff out or whatever, send it to Goodwill, whatever it is. I cannot hold on. The things that I've held on from childhood, I'm surprised I still have it. So that's usually how it goes for me. I'll buy stuff, but then I'll either slow down or I'll stop for a while and then I'll start back again. So that's how it happened with Blu-ray into 4K. I stopped for a little bit, and I was like, okay, let me venture into this 4K thing, and it took off from there, and that's all I buy now. So that was my first venture into collecting.
You know, it's funny. I wish. So I when I was in school, I worked at Best Buy from 2003 to 2004 in the media section. I really wish I started collecting at the time, but I didn't buy any. You know, it was a couple of years, but super ironic.
I dubbed a lot of my Three Stooges collection to begin with before they released them all out on DVD, all the shorts. I had tapes full of different shorts from the Stooges. Every time they would come up on TV, record. So I understand that process of dubbing stuff.
And you know, it's so funny about the dubbing. I know some people probably don't know what that means. That's a code word. I mean, collectors know. I don't know if I want to say what dubbing is. Y'all might turn us in. But anyway,
So live, it's too late.
you know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is the thing about dubbing, like Ben said, he did Three Stooges. I used to always tape Martin TV show and Married with Children and all the cartoons. I mean, like if I go back and I still have those tapes, if I go back and look at those tapes, I will probably see cartoons that I totally forgot about because I used to just tape everything. And it's just that, and that's why I think that's where my love of TV shows come from. And I think they're so important to get because guys, I come from a time where you didn't get TV shows on videotape, and DVD was a struggle. Like that didn't that even when DVD, it took years on DVD for TV shows to come out. So the dubbing game is real.
Definitely is. And like we was just talking, Jagoda said at first, seeing that big collection behind everybody, that's a wonderful thing to see. We all, kind of want that huge collection. It's nice to see it grow. And I think all of us up here, we all have, specific things in our collection that we collect. And Ben, I know you're more of like, that bargain hunter,
Yeah.
things like that. Jagoda's more into the Mondos, the one clicks, and Kyle has his stuff that he collects as well. I have 4Ks, and but do you guys ever feel guilty about the amount of money that you spend on this hobby? You ever look at your collection and just be like, man, what, like, how much money did I really spend, or how much did I spend this week or this month?
Nah, my quick answer is no. But the only reason I say this is not a collector's answer, but I'm being real about it. The only reason I'll say no is because for most of all of our collection, no matter what you're collecting, TV shows, DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, one click, doesn't matter. At some point, there's something of value, right? Like you essentially just taking your money and transferring it to physical media. And if at some point you decide you don't want your collection no more, you could just resell it. You may not get exactly everything back, but and it's for your enjoyment. I don't think that listen, everyone, it's to each his own. I wouldn't enjoy yourself and buy what you like. I wouldn't say put your future at jeopardy for physical media, but and I hope and I think most people don't do that, you know what I mean? But yeah, after a while it gets up in numbers when you think about like, oh, I've been collecting for this many years and I have this much, and if you calculate on average how much you spent, you're like, that's a lot. That's a lot. But like anything else, you can sell that back. The stuff you see, you can sell it back and you can get something back as opposed to buying something that you don't physically have. That's why physical media is better than digital. Just want to plug that out there for y'all. Thank you.
Facts.
But
Well, preach.
like you said, D-Ray, I'm a bargain hunter. Have always been one. Grew up in a house that when we would go shopping, it's like we would go to Goodwill's. Just, hey, for a family get-together day, we would just go thrifting. And so just find stuff, toys, clothes, stuff like that. So, I mean, that went into my collection. And my thought process was, if I'm going to go out there and buy these movies, some of which I have never seen before, I would rather go out and try and find it in these local thrift shops, in a $5 bin at Walmart. Because if I've never seen it, I'm only wasting that money. I'm only wasting those $5. If I like it, yeah, I'll keep it on there until I can find the next variation of it, Blu-ray 4K, at a reasonable price. Yes, do I still buy stuff day one? I do. But that's certain things that I'm like, I know this is not going to be out Black Friday, so I'm going to buy it now. Or I know it's not going to be out for that long, I'm going to buy it now.
So let me ask you this, because Jagoda just brought up something else with what he was saying, and I know you have your Macari page. He spoke a little bit about reselling. What is that market looking like right now? Do you do good on your Macari page? Like, how much is this stuff really worth these days?
I have a Macari page. Not really much of a reseller. It's stuff that I don't want anymore or don't necessarily need anymore. That's what I put on my Macari page. I don't go out bargain hunting just to turn a profit on Macari. Really, I sold a Beetlejuice deck of playing cards for $8 and made $2 after all the fees on it. So it's like it's slowing down out there. I mean, eBay prices are for sellers are getting ridiculously high, that people are coming over slowly to Macari. And because of the postal service now, raising their prices, you're seeing less and less people buy because now you're paying $4.60 for media mail, which
Right.
is usually the cheaper end of things. It was usually before below $3 to $4. Now it's like $4.60.
It's
You're going
490 here.
almost
You know
$5
what?
places. So it's like now your secondhand markets are struggling because it's like, oh, okay, because I can't do it this way anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me say, let me get into the middle of this. First of all, um, be responsible. Do what you
Mm-hmm.
can. You love media. We get all that. Don't be like Dakota. You see that button up he got on. See, he got good job. He got a good job, and so he could drop those ducats on this media. So don't let his irresponsible self get you into something you can't afford. Now, if you
Cal
can
may have a
afford it,
button up on right now.
but we know you got a button up on. That's what I'm saying. Look, um, Jakota's a real collector. No, I'm joking. But Jakota, he's in the heavy lifting. And like Ben, I understand what Ben is saying about the bargain hunting, because sometimes even if you can't afford it, there's just something about a bargain. Like it just, for me, when I even do videos, the very few that I do, what intrigues me and inspires me to do them is the bargain I find. Yes, I go out on Tuesday like a lot of you guys, and I buy that stuff sometimes. Not as much recently, but that's every day. But like when you find something, you go in a Goodwill and you find it for a lower price or a surprise, it's just, there's a different feel to it. And yeah, the game, if you're a reseller or if you just sell, that has gotten very hard for its fees, because I feel like they got it out for us. There's a conspiracy going, because it's almost not worth it unless you're selling big ticket items like one clicks and Steelbooks that are worth, like, it's hard. So really, you're just doing it to do it. And me personally, I don't if I want to get rid of some extras, some stuff that I might have upgraded that I really don't have the room for, yeah, I might sell it, or more likely give it away. But either way, it's almost not becoming not worth it in today's market. And also too, if you do sell, you'll realize that winter is the best time. Summer is almost a deadline for selling. So
I did
just
see.
my 2 cents.
Just real quick, I saw a video. Actually, I looked at a video yesterday about reselling. Um,
Hmm.
and what they were saying is, yeah, the market for reselling has took a hit, both with maybe people not wanting the product or not willing to pay what they used to pay, maybe even pre-pandemic.
Hmm.
But one of the things that I think has been trying to get around, and they may not still make the biggest profit they want, is they
Hmm.
start to put things in lots. So if they feel as
yes,
though they can sell, two or three items, it may not even be worth it to sell it, because like Ben said, with the fees and everything, you're gonna like just lose out so much. Sometimes they try to just package it with a bunch of stuff, because I think as
Right.
consumers, when you see a number, you see that picture with all those movies, especially if you're a beginner and you want to just kind of amass a good amount of movies, like you may be more inclined to be like, all right, I'll spend this money and do that. And sometimes it'll average out to be a little bit better, but I
Hmm.
think I think right now, I think we're at a point where it has taken a hit, but I think it's gonna pick up soon in some cases.
Yeah, it could.
And then the other
Well,
hack apparently is, put the if the price is too high for the for the amount, put it to the shipping, because I guess you don't have to pay those fees with shipping with eBay. Don't hit me eBay for that, but that's just what I heard. But yeah,
I
I think
mean,
it's a way to find out
I
about it.
I don't know, dude. It seemed. I mean, like I said, it picked up in the winter, but it's just, uh, I don't know. It's just all how you look at it, No shot to the resellers that sell it. A lot of things overpriced. That's your game, do you? But I try to be fair if I do sell something, and everybody has different mindsets and outlooks on it, and I understand that. But sometimes, like, not the movie community, but like even the video game community, it's so expensive. It's just ridiculous. And these are games that a few years ago were like pennies, and now it's just ridiculous. So honestly, this may sound selfish. Sometimes I want that market to crash, because as a fan, I can buy those games and play them again. I don't have to pay $100 for a game. So, and I would hate to see physical media get so like that. You know, we have the boutiques already, like they're providing a good service, but once they're all there is, they're going to price gouges, guys, like really bad. They are. That's just what happens. And so that's why I always tell people these box stores are very important, if not just for competition, because we're going to pay through the nose, and we're going to lose the love for this if we're forced to do that. I think. So,
I mean, these marketplaces are filled with nothing but overpriced buy nows. Like clearly, they're not even in the price range of what most people would pay, which is why they sit on these platforms for months, almost even years. And I don't know if that tends to also mess up the reselling market too, because reselling market is actually very important to us as collectors, because sometimes we'll miss out on something and you want to get it, stuff like that. And I think for the most part, for most collectors, they don't collect just to resell.
No.
Some people resell for the purpose of funding their own, like their continuance of their collection, or hey, I'm upgrading from DVD to Blu-ray. Okay, let me sell that. So it's a safe space. I think most people are on that. But these prices, these buy nows, the best offer prices are just astronomical for no reason, and the sellers know it.
I always, when I try and sell something, I put something up $5 more because I put in free shipping, or me pay shipping. So you as the buyer are already paying. People are like, well, what can you do it at this price point? I go, no, I have shipping calculated in here. I will pretty much be giving it to you just at the shipping price if you say you want to go down this low. Oh, okay. Good. You said free shipping. I'm like, I know. It's built into mine, so you don't have to pay that $5.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing, Ben. And actually, I'm sorry, Dakota. Actually, one thing about I've noticed about selling stuff. I'm not a big seller, but when I do, I notice, and this, you know who you are. You collectors lowball more than the casuals. You do, and it's so disheartening, because you guys know what's what. You guys know what it costs. You guys know the game, because half of you guys to be lowballing. I check your accounts, and you're selling this stuff for way more than me. The same stuff. You might take my stuff and resell it. So it's just like, I never understood how a person that comes from our game and our world, like, would lowball us the way they do. Like that's something. And sometimes it's just like, dude, you know the game. You know my shipping price is in there. So if I take it down, I'm just sending this to you. Why, dude? Like, and you're selling stuff for 3 times of what I'm selling things for. So like, I don't understand like the disconnect with that. Why some people are just like, the game, but you're still out to lowball people. I don't get that.
It's because they see the price points on eBay and what the actual retail price is on Amazon. I think, oh, I can get that. Not realizing that that's not what people are willing to pay it for. That's why it's sitting on Amazon for that price. That's why it's sitting on eBay for that price.
Yep. Yeah. But Ben, I'm specifically talking about, say, let's just throw a number out there. Say something's $50, right? It goes for $50 pretty much everywhere, and you sell it for 35. You're already the cheapest guy, right? And then you might even take it down to 25. All right. Now, when you take away fees and you take away shipping, what do you really come away with? You're really just doing it. You're just selling it to sell it. And then it's not the person, they just want the book, they want the steelbook or want the movie. It's the collector. And it's the collector. And I'm not making it personal, but it's always a collector that or does the same thing you do, a seller that does the same thing you do. That says, hey, let me get it for 10. But you know better than to ask me that. Like, I found that very, very funny in my experience. I know everybody's is different, but that is always a common thing in my experience.
So let me ask you guys this, because I see a lot of people in the chat saying, they've got some great secondhand shops that they can trade in and sell things at. And some people are saying, they just end up having to give them away because they don't have that. Do you ever, I think I've asked this question before. Do you guys ever feel like, there's such thing as too many, or do you have a specific number you like your collection? Because I know, shout out to like Martinez Joe. He kind of caps his around that 10,000 mark. A lot of people like to send him stuff that they really don't want him. Cinema sickness or two on my mind that, a lot of people will send them things that they don't want, or they just want to send it to them. So they still try to cap their collection at a certain amount and say, I don't want more than this. Do you guys have like a specific number where you feel like, okay, this is way too much. I only want this amount, or you just feel like something is just like you don't want that blockbuster in your basement?
I would say that for me personally, I would base it on space more so than a specific number. Because if I think, or if anybody thinks of like roughly how many movies do I, on average, buy a year, you can kind of be like, all right, I got space for this or that. But no, I don't. I think it's more of like, what can my space hold, and then, after I get to a certain point, then that's when I have to figure out, okay, something's got to go. Maybe some of the old stuff I'm not just get those and make more room. But
Time to get a new place.
I honestly can't see myself at 10,000. I can't. Like when I think everyone when they hit 1,000 was like a super exciting milestone. Like it felt amazing. But yeah, I can't even see myself getting to 10.
Yeah, and to stay on kind of on that, still on that resale topic, because I think we talked about this the other night. I think we asked each other like specifically about the Steelbooks, where we asked I believe it was Jacoda, he asked do we keep the J cards? And I believe I said no, I don't keep mine. Most of them I throw away, and I know specifically for that purpose of reselling that a lot of people do try to keep them just in case they want to sell those Steelbooks, because those are usually worth a little bit more. But I know I usually get rid of mine. So I'm guessing, if I ever think about, okay, maybe I do want to sell these off, I do need to keep those J cards. But to me, they're just, I don't really know what to do with them. I don't have a specific like drawer or anything like that I want to put them in.
I keep mine with my Steelbooks just because of the sole fact, not for the reselling aspect of it. I'm a special features junkie. I like watching the special features. So if I'm placing in that disc and don't know what the special features are off the top of my head, or which ones I've already seen and which ones I haven't seen yet, that's why I keep my J cards for that reason. So I know exactly what I'm looking for. It's like, okay, I've seen this one already. I haven't watched this one. Okay, click. That's the only reason I keep my J cards.
For me, I think I told you guys, I pretty much if I get a Steelbook and I open it, I put the J card in maybe plastic, like protective sheets in a book somewhere, and I keep them that way. If I resell it, if I decide to get rid of it, or even if I give it away, I'll just include the J card, because some people like it, some people don't. But typically, guys, when I get a Steelbook, I don't I don't open it for the most part. But I've probably opened one, two max, because I might have wanted a code in there or something. But I really don't open my Steelbooks. I don't have many, but when I do get them, I don't see the need to open them. But I sometimes want to, because I don't know if a lot of people know those J cards can harm your Steelbook over time. Paper has a chemical in it, and it deoxidizes. So it being on that artwork over time, your artwork's going to look bad. It's going to look palish, white. It's going to leave a chemical on it that you won't be able to get off. So honestly, I would tell people unbiasedly, yeah, I don't take them off, but if I don't have to, but you should really take that paper off, because it will, in the long run, a few years later, especially depending on what type of setting your house is, like what kind of moisture you have going on, it will damage your Steelbook.
So you're saying the same thing about slips too, Cal?
But see, the thing about the slips is that's amaray. If it does leak off on that, you can get your new amaray case. The artwork is still behind the plastic, so it's a better thing. Everything goes, guys. I mean, you can't preserve it forever, but you can preserve it for a long time, and you could do better ways to keep it, fresh and minty. But dude, paper is an enemy, guys. I'm telling you now. Like, get paper away from, like, all right, you know how paper comes in next to our disk? Pull that paper out if you can. I know it's cool to leave it in there, but eventually, especially if you have any type of moisture, it's going to ruin your disk. So, yeah.
I keep my J cards for two reasons. One is I like to keep everything how I received it, because I feel like it's complete in some sense.
Right.
And I also think of it as the J card is part of my purchase price.
Yeah.
So if I paid $25, however much of that $25, that J card was part of that price. So I want to, be like, all right, I'll have this. The other side is the reselling side. So even though I buy a Steelbook, I don't ever really plan on selling my Steelbooks. Mm-hmm. but I do know that when you keep it in a certain way, it tends to just have a value. So, I mean, I open mine like my Best Buy books and stuff. I open those up, but um, yeah, I've been like that, like as a collector in general. I've been. It's not even specific to movies. Like, I always try to keep things like in a certain way. Just I don't know. It's like a book.
Yeah.
I keep it.
Facts.
So specific question for you, Jagoda, because Kyle talked about he said he's only opened up a few of his Steelbooks. Now I know I believe you open yours. I'm not too sure. Maybe you don't. But I think you said most of the time you don't even watch your physical disc. You just watch the digital.
Yep. So yeah. So my Best Buy Steelbooks, I would say like 96% of them or more probably is all open. The only ones I really don't open is if I don't get to it to open it yet, or my imports. My imports are never open. But when I do get it, like I'm big. I'm both a physical and a digital, but obviously the digital comes by way of physical. So I download my digital copies. Usually it's, I use Voodoo. And so when I go and watch a movie, like majority of the time, I just click right on Voodoo and I just watch it. And so there is times in the past where I'm like, I threw a Blu-ray in just so I can see the previews to some other movies and kind of get that that feel and stuff. But for the most part, if I don't have it on digital, then obviously I'll go to the physical. But yeah,
You trader.
Well, see, I listen. I'm a trader, but I'm not, because in order for me to get those, so the only time, like when I buy physical media, obviously we get the digital. Outside of that, the only time I'll buy digital is if Voodoo has a sale on like on a movie that's never gotten a Blu-ray release and thus wouldn't have a digital copy to it. And so if they have those like $4.99 sales or like the 2 for $14, I'll just jump on those. And they're usually older movies or movies that are in the DVD category, and I'll do those. But yeah,
Dakota, I'm gonna tell you what you doing. What you doing, my friend, is called half 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Don't be playing the fence with us. You trade.
No.
You're halfway trader.
No, because I'm buying the physical media. That's why. Because I'm buying it, and that's the only reason I'm getting these digitals is because I bought the physical.
Yeah,
So
that's how it
the thing.
starts.
At the end of the day, listen. Do you probably get a better quality by having a Blu-ray or 4K player and actually putting it in the disc and viewing it that way. But I think from the standpoint of our industry, our money speaks. So when you buy a movie, like it shows, okay, there's a market for this movie, And
Yeah. I mean, you cleaning that up pretty good. Like, I
true.
hear you.
And listen, shout out to all the people that buy physical media. It actually makes sense because when you buy a 4K nowadays at $25, $27, you're getting 3 formats for the most part: 4K, Blu-ray, and a digital copy.
Right.
Whereas if you go buy a movie brand new on digital, it's like $19.99. So you come out way better, and
it's a smart move, but you playing for 2 teams. It's cool. I get it. Some people do it because they too lazy to put the disc in. They still buy, but they're like, oh, but this is easier. But I'm just disappointed.
I use my digitals as a way of me traveling, because when I travel and I want to bring a movie with me, it's easier to bring my phone or my tablet with my digital copies on there rather than it is bringing like
a collection,
like 4 or 5 movies with me. The cases could get damaged, the disc could get loose and scratched, I can misplace the disc somewhere, whereas I lose this, it's my phone, I'm shit out of luck. So
yeah.
Hey,
and I think the battle.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the battle is really people that buy just the digital, only without buying the physical, versus physical media buyers. Stop it, y'all. Stop it.
It's like Dave. It's like Dave 4K Lowdown said here. He goes, "Do you guys think with streaming services losing money that physical media could have an uptick?"
I will never understand that, Ben. I mean that is a stupid play. If we want to buy physical media, take our money. Like, that's a smarter play. I don't get that. So that's beyond my pay grade why they do that way. But Jacoda, I hear you. That's the smart play. If you're gonna spend your money, you get the bang for your buck. So you buy the physical, then you get the digital. But my friend, Like, that scene in Batman where he was hating on Superman. He says that's how it starts. I'm telling you, my friend, when Alfred told Batman that's how it starts. You're gonna be a digital collector. Get up out of that digital game. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Nah, but you're still buying physical. I think that right now, physical media is safe. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I
Mhm.
think it's partially safe because of our consumer generation. I think as
Right.
we get older and maybe get out of that, once the younger generation or the generations behind us, once they become the main consumers, it may
Mhm.
go down a bit even more. But I think
Right.
that physical media is going to be going for a while. I really do.
Yeah. And before you guys move on, to tell back, because I don't want people messaging me like I can trying to hold me accountable. I didn't answer the question. D-Ray asked, how much is too much, and do
Yeah.
I have a number? And I didn't answer. As far as his first question, I didn't answer. Do I ever feel like I spend too much? Hell yeah. November and December is a nasty month for me. Every year for like since maybe a year before the pandemic, I've been going nasty. And I actually last year and the year before, I did, I just went through everything I bought in November, and I just, with the calculator, and I kind of felt depressed because it's
Mhm.
just like, what am I doing here? And sometimes I feel like that. I love this stuff, but how much is too much? Just because you can afford it, how much is really too much? And I battle with that all the time. I don't listen to that thought because I keep buying, of course, but how much is too much, guys? Like, it's just it can be a bad feeling. It's like, I hate that word hoarding, but it's like a battle to it too. It's just like, we know we're not going to watch this stuff, but
Let's
like, we want to own it though because we enjoy it and we like it. And like, far as the number, like, Chakota, you talking about 1,000? Man, dude, come on, man. Like that's nothing. Once you start buying, like, you have a hell of a year or 2 years straight, you're gonna pass it. People don't know the 1,000 is the cherry. Once you break the cherry,
Exactly.
it's over. Like, you're gonna go nuts, and you're gonna look back and you're gonna say, "How did I get here?" Like, I'm to the point where I'm probably hitting 7,000. So it's just, and it's not even that I'm proud of that number, but it's just like I look at it like, how did it happen?
Mhm.
So
But let me ask you this real quick side. So in the thing
huh.
of having too much and things like I think a lot of collectors, not everybody, but a lot of collectors, when you first get into it, you're buying a bunch because you're excited. It's new. You're trying to amass a huge collection. But I think
Yeah.
once you get to a certain point, you start getting real specific about what you're actually buying. So I think, if you have a year where they're just releasing great stuff, then we all gonna be buying, right? That's just the nature. But I think, a lot of times that we all seen, we've had some weeks where it's been like, you picking up something? Nah. Like, there's just nothing I want. So I think that helps. As we get selective, our collecting kind of slows down a bit sometimes for some, not all. But, um, listen, if you got to make lifestyle changes to collect,
Hmm.
maybe that's when you evaluate something. You know what I mean?
If you're going in debt, if you're
Yeah,
going in
yeah,
severe debt
definitely agree with that.
But
for this, don't.
guys, what do you say to the person that has the income, like Dakota Button up there? He may can just spend it and it won't affect him, but like, still yet, how much is too much? Because sometimes, no, I didn't go in debt. I didn't hurt myself buying 40 items this month. But at the same time, I'm just like, why did I do it? Sometimes I battle with that. Like, and then we get into this thing like, oh, I got to give away stuff. I got to cut down stuff. And we put ourselves constantly in this situation. And me, guys, I don't discriminate. So I still buy DVDs. I still buy Blu-rays because some of you just do 4Ks. I buy 4Ks, not as much as the other two. I buy a lot of TV series that take up a lot of space. And like Dakota said, sometimes it's all about space. I'm
Yep.
out of space. And so, like, I don't think it's a money thing for me. I just think it's a space thing and just a self control thing. Sometimes
See,
I believe in self control, and sometimes I believe I really struggle with keeping to it.
let's use this as an example right here. Weird. When I purchased this was like $50 on regularly, just this set. I
Mhm.
wanted to spend another 20 to 30. I could have gotten a Hawaiian shirt with this. So it's like that to me, this was more feasible for me to buy than spending the extra $30 getting it imported with just another Hawaiian shirt in there. It's kind of like the elf set that was just announced on Shout and how you get all this stuff. If you look at the price point, it's 230 some bucks when you could just buy the basic, just the television show for like, they have it there for 80. So it's like, okay, you're getting all the Elf stuff. You're getting Project Elf. You're getting the animated stuff. You're getting the TV show. Is it really worth all the other headaches to get the vinyl if you're not into records? Getting the piece of Melmac if you're not into the little props and whatnot. In some ways, it's not. So it's better to take your step back and buy the smaller version. Be like, I'm not going to need half this stuff. So why waste the money at that point when I could be using that money somewhere else to get something else I truly want?
All right, so let's rewind this conversation back just a little bit because Ben, about 15 minutes ago, you did touch a little bit on the topic, and since you're talking about you don't need all that stuff that's coming, you're just basically worried about the movie, and the disc and what's on it. So you mentioned special features. So that is a little topic we wanted to discuss tonight. You know, do special features really make or break your purchase decision? Do you look forward to special features and what's coming when you see those announcements that, you know, Alf is coming out? Or are you checking, oh, let me see if there's any new special features because I already own it, but if there's something new that's being added to the disc, I'd love to see it.
Let's do the Stoogerama set that just came out because I'm a big Three Stooges fan. This set, yes, comes with a few things that I already have, but it comes with behind the scenes interviews with the Stooges, an actual documentary done by Norman Maurer, who's Moe's son-in-law. So it's like that type of stuff is that special feature stuff I like. Whereas most movies, when you do the special features, if the 4K doesn't have the special feature and the Blu-ray does, I'll buy the Blu-ray. Or if the Blu-ray doesn't have it, the DVD does, I'll buy the DVD just for those special features because I like diving into what made this movie this movie. What was the director thinking? What was the actors thinking of when they read the script the first time? When you get those like directors' commentaries or those actor commentaries who were involved in the movie, you hear that, or you see the blooper reels, stuff like that. I enjoy that type of stuff. But that's just me being a fan of history, just going in there and diving into what made these movies.
Okay, because see me specifically, I'm not that much into it to where, at least to where I go and I check and see, you know, what's new coming on it that wasn't on there as opposed to the previous release that they had for it. I'm gonna be honest, the last time I actually sat through special features was when Scarface 4K released. I knew I wanted to kind of watch the sit down interview conversation that they had on there. So I watched that and then I watched everything else along with it. But for the most part, I don't really sit and watch the special features. Some of them are cool, but I think for me, since it's 4K, I already know that some of those special features aren't actually in 4K. So I don't go back and watch it. But I know sometimes I do when I know it's in 4K because I know it sometimes it actually looks better than what I just seen in the movie. Just seeing the behind the scenes in 4K and things like that, it looks a lot better to me. So I will go ahead and watch it. But what about you, Jacoda and Kal-El? Do you guys really care about special features?
I'll be quick. I think like if you listen to what Ben was saying, it's Three Stooges. See, that's clearly something he loves, one of his favorite things. So, yes, when it comes to something we already own or purchase and grew up with, or just a big fan of, absolutely, 100% special features always matter. It will drive you to keep buying the next edition, and they just get us with that. But let's be real. If a movie comes out that we want to see, that we might have seen, and it's just a movie, it's not going to matter because it's always, no matter what, movie first, everything else is secondary. So you want that movie. If Mission Impossible comes out without the features, we're going to still buy it. But at the same time, if it has the features, and it should have features, because at the end of the day, that's more bang for your buck. That drives you to buy the physical media, and that's the way things should be. Just like I believe at this point, no media, none, should be coming without a slip. We've reached a point where nothing, if you're buying this stuff, it should have a slip at the very least. So it's the same thing with features. Everything should have some sort of special features, but I think mostly it doesn't matter. We'll still buy it. But when it comes to buying again and again and again, like I love the Terminator stuff and the Superman stuff, without those features, I'm gonna either put it on the back burner or I might skip it. So
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head, man. That's another conversation that we can get into next anyway. It's about the whole slipcover thing. You know, I'm kind of big on slipcovers. I'm kind of not, but I'm far as that. I'm with you on that at this point, especially with 4K. Everything should be coming with a slipcover. That's the one thing I do hate about Shout Scream, that a lot of this stuff doesn't come with a slip cover, and it's the prices are slowly going up right now. I think most of their releases are around 27 or 29, and I think that's kind of high for some of these movies. Because me specifically, they're not like must purchases for me, but I think I'd be swayed a little more with some great artwork and packaging if they gave it to us. Then I'll say, okay, maybe this is kind of worth $27.99. But some of these movies with no slip, it's kind of like I start second guessing whether it's worth it or not. So I do feel the same way that most of these movies, and probably everything really with 4K, because supposedly it's the last format. It's supposed to be kind of premium right now. So you should be giving us everything. And like Ben said earlier, I'm not big on all that other stuff that comes with like the Screen Factory with all these little pins,
Mhm.
Cards, posters. I don't care for all that. Just give me my movie. Most of them I just buy because I love that movie and I just want the disc. So I don't need all that extra stuff just sitting around for no reason.
I I just gotta say, D-Ray, um, Video J81, thanks for the super sticker. Mr. Rigby, thanks for the super chat.
Yes.
We really
Thank you,
appreciate it. We're
Mr.
not
Rigby.
showing the chat down tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you for that. It's amazing. You guys are very supportive doing something like that, and I know
Yes.
D-Ray appreciates it. So
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mr. Rigby. Thank you, Video J81. Thank you to the chat for being here. I know you guys, I'm not putting the comments on the screen, but I really wanted this to just be kind of about us.
yeah.
So thank you guys for, responding to what we're talking about, with the chat, but I just didn't want to put up on the screen because this is all about us assembling and you guys just really getting to know us through this
Yeah.
conversation that we're having amongst each other. So once again, thank you.
So
Unfortunately, Cal just fell out, so he should be back. But yeah, let's keep the conversation going because that
no.
was the next topic leading into was slips versus steelbooks. Now, for quite a while, steelbooks was the hot topic. When all of us first kind of met and started being on the IG together on the lives, steelbooks was a very big thing. Slowly but surely, slips and the artwork started to take over. A lot more people are starting to slips a lot more. The resale value on the slip cover has skyrocketed for a lot of these movies, especially for like the good, the bad, and the ugly stuff that came with a slip. Very limited, and then kind of disappears. So people just really have a thing for slips. But it's just like steel books are slowly making their way back. There's a ton of great new steel books on the way for the rest of this year. From Matilda, Transformers, we just had that nice Sisu steel book. We got some more stuff coming. A lot of people had loved that artwork for Scream. So it's good to see steelbooks coming back. So hopefully that price will come down a little bit. People stop going crazy over slips. But is there one that you guys prefer? Me personally, I can go ahead and answer this question. To me, it's all about um, the artwork and the price. Sometimes these releases come around the same price, so it's like you can choose either one. But if it comes down to it, I look at the artwork and say, okay, I'm fine with this artwork on the slip, and the price is usually sometimes about $5 less. So I'm going to go with slip cover and save a little bit of money as opposed to the steel book because I'm not as big on steel books. Plus, I know a lot of people go crazy over their steel books and order 3 at a time so they can make sure that they get one that's not dented, scratched, spine slash, as they call it. But what about you guys? Do you guys have a core preference, or does it just not matter? You're just going to pick whichever one.
I'll start. I mean, I'll use the Maximum Overdrive as an example. My wife loves that movie.
Good one.
She has the Vestron slip, like bought it originally when it came out. But when the Steelbook came out, I'm like, hey, honey, I know you love this movie. What do you think of this Steelbook? She goes, I hate that artwork. I don't want it. I'm like, okay. She goes, it looks too computer generated for me. Now, if it looked more like the actual one that was the movie poster or what was on the actual Vestron cover, she goes, yeah, I would buy it that way. But she goes, Emilio Estevez's character looks too CGI on here. To me, that just takes it out. If it now, she said she was an art major in college. So she would also say if it was drawn, if he was like hand drawn on there or looked like he was hand drawn, yeah, it maybe would look better. Maybe I would buy it. She goes, she sees some of this artwork. She goes, some of these are just too bland. Like I don't see the appeal to them. And I go, well, it's pretty much become a artwork thing. She goes, really? I'm like, yeah, it has been. She goes, I don't mind a slipcover if the cover art on my case is different than than the slipcover. That's what I prefer if I do anything. But I could care less either way if I get a steelbook or a slipcover. I mean, if I have the movie and I'm watching it and I enjoy the movie, I don't really care. I mean, the only thing I'm peculiar about my slipcovers are those ones that go about DC Universe on my DC animated stuff. So that's the thing I really care about slip wise.
Yeah, I'm my preference is always steelbooks, right? So I usually want to go. I can admit, even though I'm a steelbook fan, that there's a lot of slipcover artwork that's better than their counterpart steelbook artwork. Um,
Yes.
and then there are times, depending on the movie, if I'm a huge fan of the movie and I love the artwork, I will actually try and get both if I can. Like I did that with The Lost Boys, for example, right? Like my favorite vampire movie, got the steelbook, love the slipcover, So yeah, I mean I'll dabble in both, but my preference is naturally a steelbook.
Me, honestly, I think I mean it's not really steel, but just quality wise, even if you can get it in great condition, steelbook is really worth like it seems. And look, they go up in value. You know what I mean? Like we might buy Mission Impossible. That's going to always be that's that movie's going to always be an average movie. That's a movie we'll always see somewhere. But the steelbook, like the slip can vary whether it goes up in price, but a steelbook usually holds some value or goes up in value. So that's the difference to look at. But for me, I find a lot of steelbooks to be meh. So I kind of like it's so funny. I sometimes I look at the slipcover artwork and I'm like, why didn't they just put that on the steelbook? Like when people went out and bought the screams, I think the original artwork or kind of the original artwork they used for the slips were far better than what they did for the steelbooks. And I feel that that happens more often than not for steelbooks. But when a steelbook hits, though, it hits. So, it like D-Ray, it's really about price. It's really about price. But in my mind, I probably stick with the slips because I have bad OCD and I like all my stuff to match. So, like even sets, when people buy these humongous sets like that Futurama set that's out there. Yeah, there's a Gunsmoke set out there. There's the Turtle Van set. There's the Home Alone paint cans. Those are all awesome sets, guys. The Evil Dead set's awesome, but that's a nightmare for me because I like everything to look somewhat uniform. Like seeing DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks together is a nightmare. Like I can understand blues and 4Ks. It's like sizing matters to me. So usually, guys, I pretty much stick with the slips, but the stills is they're not to be. Shout out Movie Hunter. He knows the stills is the truth too. So it's really about
That po-
price and
Cal,
you know.
that point you made just now, but that's the funny part too, is that like for the most part, not all the time, if you have a series of a movies, a trilogy or quadrology, something like that, and the first one or two come out on steelbooks, for the most part, during that time we'll get maybe all three or all four in the steelbook, right? For the most part, and if not, we're now seeing that they're releasing steelbook sets, right? Like every year we're getting steelbook sets of movies from the past. What kills me is when they give us slips for like the first two or three movies, and the third movie there's no slip.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's
that
crazy.
that would irk me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I would
yeah.
be
That
like,
that that's bullshit. But that's our game,
yeah,
Dakota. That goes back to how many of you that buy TV series and the first five is in Blu-ray and the last two is just DVD only. That's a nightmare for OCD people. Forget the quality, just OCD alone first just bothers me. Then the quality, it's like, why did you? But they do that.
You can say the same thing with steelbooks. Take the Indiana Jones set for example. They Everyone was complaining about how white they looked because that doesn't
Mm,
scream Indiana Jones, and then they re-released them with the movie posters on them,
yeah.
like
hmm
the black steelbooks. So it comes down to a point. It's like, do you wait knowing that eventually something like that's going to come along? Because I guarantee you, Dial of Destiny will feature it in one of both of those ways. Either the white one, they will release it that way, or they will release it with the other ones to match, or they will re-release a set again. I mean, that's what gets me is like, yeah, you can completely, like you were saying, Dakota, if you have the movies and you want it to look uniform, But then all of a sudden, that artwork changes on the individual one on that steelbook. I know you're going to see the spine, but you go pull it out. Even that spine font might be even different. Look at it like
Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or think about this: we got a bunch of DC animations on Steelbooks, right? And then all of a sudden now they stopped that, and now we're at slips. So yeah, OCD and me would love to have the ones that's coming out on Steelbooks as well. But they got nice slips, so if I had to switch over, because I'm like, they're not doing Steelbooks anymore, I'd be like, okay, at least I'm getting the slips for it and look somewhat, nice. But
as far as I know, Dakota, they still are doing steelbooks. War World has one coming out, and I believe I heard that Phantasm might be getting one too.
really, all right,
Yeah,
good. Because I know they
Dakota,
had these that they were
you ain't
doing
about that
straight
horror life, so it don't matter. He ain't about that horror.
horror.
Yeah, he ain't.
So speaking of that horror life, let's keep it kind of personal preference, our own taste in our collections and things like that. So what is you guys' favorite genre or favorite label to buy in your collection, and what got you interested in it?
Favorite genre, favorite label.
Okay, I'll be quick. I'll spark it off. My favorite, even though you're getting very disappointing. Screen Factory always caught me, as far as a label. Screen Factory always caught me because of the artwork, the reverse artwork. Like it was just different. Now they're kind of, it feels like they're cash grabbing us, but they still hold a special place. But I think, far as the people, I think words are words, but actions are actions. So when you look at the game and you look at what Kino does, the sales, what they put out, I think they are the most collector friendly boutique label we have. I think they really care. They put out stuff, they have sales, and they're honest. Same with Vestron. Vestron is showing you that everything can have a slip for a cheap price. They've really showed us that. And and it doesn't cost all this money. They're gouging us guys, but that's neither here or there. So I think that far as labels, that far as companies that make movies, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know. They probably know now because they just made a jump. But I love IFC. Like most of their movies are
Yeah.
really good,
yeah.
and a lot of people kind of knock these movies, but RLJE actually has a good variety of movies too, from horror to action, drama. Like there's a lot of good stuff in there, and so every time, guys, I see those labels on something out in the wild,
Mhm.
I buy it. So just cause it's usually 90% of the time it's a good movie, or I enjoy them. So you know that's what it is for me.
I would say from an artwork perspective, to be honest, Mondo is my favorite domestic
Mondo.
thing. But I agree with Cal. Like if you're talking about titles, you're talking about just encompassing a community of different types of genres. Like
Hmm.
Criterion is stepping up in a lot of ways, but they still specialize in
Facts.
a lot of things. But
Yeah.
They are.
Kino has definitely, stepped up and in a way. You know, I think other companies has the ability to. It's just kind of like it's like the balance of the catalog in which you have and then what you do catalogs, right? Like Arrow does great stuff with their box sets, but if maybe they need to go into more movies, like a little more spectrum of their movies.
Well,
Vinegar Syndrome movies is, but packaging is great, one of the best for slips, but their
it's
movie
not enough.
selection
It's
is
not enough.
off. So if they were, and I think, like Vestron showed, hey, we can have movies with slips for a lower price, and I think from a steelbook perspective, that's what Lionsgate started doing like 2 years ago. We can give you a steelbook with great artwork and a plastic slip for cheaper than what the traditional 4K steelbook is.
Facts.
So
Yes.
it kind of like balances out, but like yeah, for me, Mondo, because of I feel like what I'm paying, I'm getting and then some. And then Kino Lorber, in terms of the actual content of the movie, like they put out movies that most other companies aren't willing to even touch. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but like you
Shout.
said, the arrow. I mean, that's cool and all, but when is enough enough? I mean, because a lot of the times we're just buying this a new edition. We're just buying it because we like the artwork. So that's one thing. But I don't know. I don't see a lot of this stuff is not enough. Like, all right, guys, the Bruce Lee is coming out for the 100th time, and it's coming out on Arrow. Is it enough to go after? I mean, if you've been collecting long enough, Bruce Lee's had very different, I mean, a lot of different variations of releases and artwork. So it's just like, all right, it's not enough anymore. I don't know. Just
It's 4K though, right? For that one, I think.
Yes.
Is it for? Because the Criterion one, I think is Blu-ray, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe that's what it is, right? The idea of an upgrade is like, oh, or nowadays I think that these companies got an idea that, hey, we can make money off of artwork even if we put it back out. Like, there's a market for it, and that's why we see
do you like
Marvel.
that?
Yeah, I lied to you now. It depends on the artwork because I bought two separate things of Star Wars Steelbooks. Right, the 4K when they came out with the artwork, it was beautiful. I was like, I want it. So I think it depends.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
know
ain't
for
gonna harp on
me,
it. I can go all day on that.
I love a good action title. But far as 4Ks, even though I don't have many of them, I think right now the label that I'm really intrigued about is Blue Underground. I know almost all of their transfers are very good. Their slips are very good. I've seen Coach Trini in there earlier talk about he's still looking for that zombie slip. So that's one of the main ones that a lot of people really want is that zombie slip, worth a lot of money, but most people aren't willing to pay for a slip. That's a different conversation. But Blue Underground is the one I'm most interested in. If I was to do 100% collection of someone's, it will be Blue Underground. But like you said, Vinegar Syndrome, a lot of people go crazy over that. That's kind of borderline porn, but they do great artwork. Vestron probably gives you the best bang for your buck. Right now Criterion season, so everybody's going crazy over that. I'm not too big on Criterion. To me, I don't like the artwork and stuff they put out. Everything looks so plain to me for the price they're asking you to pay, other than, some of the more current stuff like your deep cover, Minister Society, Devil in a Blue Dress. There's been some great artwork and there's some good stuff coming, but
very few.
For the most part, to me, a lot of that stuff look plain, almost like, old postcards is what, and stamps is what I kind of, look at it like. So it never really interested me. So that's why you never see me go crazy over Criterion. And I think, like Cal said, I think Scream and Shout, they're doing a very good job with what they put out. They give you some quality titles. Just sometimes I feel like it's a bit overpriced. And then they like to give out all that extra stuff if you pre-order and stuff. And I don't get into all of that. So of course, it's all, kind of personal preference on what you like to buy. I see people buy just because there's numbers on the spine. It's kind of crazy to me. Like, do you not care about the movie? You just want this because there's a number. Or it's a first pressing of something. That's kind of weird, but we all got our own collection and personal preferences. But what about you, Ben Buster?
I would say most of my collection will probably be comedy, and just because bad day, have a horrible day at work, the one thing I want to do is come home and laugh my ass off. I just don't get how. And then I would have to say, if I had to go 100% into company, I would probably go Kino, just because for a collector's market, it's a little bit of everything. You have your classic noirs, you have your classic films, you have comedies, you have action, you have westerns, you have a lot of stuff that way to warrant your interest. And for me, if someone says, "Oh, what boutique label should I go with?" If I'm first starting out, I'll go Kino. There's something there for everyone, as compared to going Scream Factory, which would be, if you're not into horror. I'm not that much into horror, so that doesn't interest me at all. A lot of the Vestron stuff coming out that was horror, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't interest me at all either. But in Kino, I at least have found something that I would want almost every month that has come out. And then I usually wait for a sale for them. And then I buy that stuff that I've wanted for those months that came out and get it. So
you watch your mouth, young man.
Agreed.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kino, man. They put out some great titles. Like you said, there's something for everybody there, and I do like that most of the time their slip covers are sealed. I wish more people would do that and actually shrink wrap over
My
the slip cover.
my only issue with that I have with them is the plainness of their spines. It's black with white lettering.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I
at
see.
least
I
with the
see that.
slips, you're getting their actual artwork for the slip. I mean, yeah, I like it's all uniform, but if you have a black shelf, it just blends in. That's my
Well,
only gripe about Kino. But beyond that, I, from a standpoint of movie watching and movie loving, Kino is the way to go for me.
yeah, they seem like they really care. And shout out to the people because I know Movie Hunter is definitely one of them. I think I've seen Mel say something about it in one of her later videos that they want to complete restaurants. So they get every restaurant that comes out. I call them besties. They're besties. So they I think that's kind of cool. Like I mean, like D-Ray, you said it doesn't matter about it, but that reminds me of the comic book era of where you had to have them because of the numbers. Like there was a time
Hmm.
we were those of us that collect comics that you wanted to collect every issue just for the numbers. You might not even like the superhero or the story, but it was all about that number. And so I kind of like respect that, even though it kind, it's like, depending on how you feel about it. I mean, it could be a trash movie, but it's like it's part of that series, so they want to collect. So I
Mhm.
kind of like that. And look, Vestron, you're not losing too much money doing it either. It's just
Yeah.
you've got the
Yep.
space to do it. But yeah.
All right, so let's head back. Let's go back. Earlier, Jagoda was talking, and he was talking about it was when we were talking about streaming, and he said he thinks those people that mostly do digital libraries, have it the toughest because you just never know when that stuff is gonna get pulled. We've seen it before. We've seen it lately, especially with streaming sites. Things getting pulled, but basically, if physical media did stop and this 4K is the last format, what would you guys do?
Like they stopped making 4K movies altogether.
Yeah, if this the whole physical stopped.
I think I'd be content. I think I have enough movies.
Mhm.
I have
Man.
enough movies that I can enjoy, and I think we all tend to watch movies more than once. So
Yes.
it's kind of like I think that's what's important about having a collection the way you want to have it, so that in case it's not in case it's a funny post-apocalyptic thought process about like physical media. It's like yeah, digital. You need a good internet connection or something. Otherwise, it's gonna buff and it won't work. But if I got my physical and I got some electricity, I'm always gonna watch it. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I think
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, if you have the collection you want, then they can stop tomorrow. It'll suck, but it's not gonna change
So
anything.
so would you partake in the bootleg?
Um,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I may just keep it just how it is. I
Oh
guess.
man, he being political.
But
Hell
no,
yeah,
the reason
it's the
no, but I'm gonna tell
it's
you,
the same. All right, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro.
it's not because of the bootleg. It's because of the OCD of everything. That's really what it is. Like if someone lets me hold their bootleg to watch a movie, sure. But in terms of
Hmm.
collecting, like I'm just kind of like I just want to collect. I like to see things uniform, so that's just what it is. But
Would you
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
would you
I
ever,
think the
Jagoda,
game.
would you ever burn your disc and make it digital yourself?
Nah, he wouldn't do
if
that.
I can, yeah, if
Oh,
I can,
come
why
on.
not?
You would do that, but you wouldn't buy bootleg. See, it's looking a little. You sound
Because
like a
I'm changing.
politician here.
Nah, because I'm changing to digital and it's gonna be saved on a digital storage. So I'm not seeing it. It's digital, but to see it, when I see something, I want it to be uniform if I can have it that way. And so if it looks different, then it's just like, now I gotta start something. I could do it and start it. It would have to then start different. It sounds like when people organize their collection and they have Blu-rays here, then 4Ks here. Like it's kind of the same
Hmm.
thought process. If they did in fact make a new
Okay.
thing and they decide, okay, we're gonna bootleg, but we're gonna keep it all the same, then there's a possibility I will go into that road. OCD
I'm
basically.
gonna say I might. There's some people that have these like these you know in this game looks like there's classism in this game. When you talk about bootlegs, it's like, ooh, who does that? Like that's low tier. Don't You're not supposed to do that. F that. If they and it's the same feel. If they stop making media and somebody's putting it out, they should have kept putting it out if they really cared. So we're going to spend our money and we're going to get it some way if it's possible. Somebody's going to pick it up. So just do your job and keep dropping media. It's the same logic to applies for all these movies that are on streaming that's not released. Thank God we just got a Prey announcement. But I'm just saying, like something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever, just all the big titles that's coming out on streaming only. Like at some point, why didn't you guys release it? And then you're mad because we go and support your movie and we go pay for it somewhere else. No, it's the same thing. If they stop media, we're gonna get it how we can get it if we can. It's just yeah, and if anybody, I can't see people being upset with that. They don't make media anymore, so why would we? Why would that be a bad thing? And I know there's going to be people that say that, like, bump that. That's crazy to me. I don't know. I think we get too caught up in the real and the authentic, and there's stuff that's never going to be put on media. And so
Mhm.
yes, I'm taking the bootleg. I just bought Luke Cage, guys. Bootleg. I've never seen it because I don't stream, so I'm proud. I'm a proud to say, yo, if there's no now if there's a physical available and it ain't like astronomical, go for it. I don't believe in bootlegging, but anything else, bootleg that shit. Excuse me.
All right, Ben Buster. Before we get into the last one, do you want to
Sure.
chime
I
in on
mean,
this?
as you guys know, it's no secret that who my favorite actress is, Sandra Bullock. I mean, her last two of her last films before Bullet Train were solely Netflix exclusives.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for the fact of aftermarket burning of discs, I would not have gotten The Unforgivable or Bird Box physically. And I mean, could I really say I was a true fan of that? And like Cal said, there's some ways that some movies don't even see it the light of physical release. Like let's take like he said, Luke Cage. We just got an announcement for what was a WandaVision Steelbook that was
Yes.
coming out. And that's been how long since that show's been off? And I know there were places out there that were bootlegging that stuff, but then it gets time to do it. Oh, are you going to get rid of your bootleg for the Steelbook? Or are you going to keep your bootleg because you paid for it and do it that way? I have, if it's not on it, then we get this fine line. Warner Archives. Warner Archives are burn on demand. Most people would
Bootleg.
say burn on demand is a bootleg.
It is.
Not if you look at Warner's stance on it. Warner's stance is these are our films. We're
Hmm.
burning them when you want to buy them. We're
Right.
not going to have them out there just sitting around.
Right.
So when you go on movie on demand like that from a studio, it's technically a burnt disc,
Hmm.
and it's still your bootleg. It's technically viewed as bootlegging, but not
Yeah.
in reality. It's not.
Yeah.
I bought
So
those.
it's that fine line right there.
Yeah, just blur the line, guys. Do what you feel is right, because at the end of the day, when Ben brings up the made on demand, why? And that's another thing. Logically, so why doesn't Netflix? Why doesn't Warner Brothers? Why don't you just put all your properties up so we could just buy them? How are you losing out if we buy it on demand? There's no reason we shouldn't be getting this stuff that we want. And Dakota, somebody said they want to bootleg. My man Hayes said he want to bootleg New York Undercover. See what I'm saying? And there's nowhere else to get
So
it.
I have that. I have the bootleg. That was my very first bootleg I bought, was New York Undercover, right? So now it's on Peacock. Shout out, go to Peacock and watch it. But yeah, so I have bootleg. I have a Warner Archive. Actually, I have two of them. Class Act and I think Airborne was two of Warner Archives I got, right. So in those instances, I'll buy it. My New York Undercovers are in like the CD slips. It's like
Yeah.
25 bucks. I bought off of eBay. So like I'll do it, but my thing is just more of like, again, it's more of like the collecting part, right? Because I was saying I love physical media, but a part of my collecting is not just the movie, right? It's the what comes with the movie as well. So if I can get the show on Peacock, then I'll try and watch it on Peacock, and then I'll just do it that way. Because
It's
prior to Peacock, I wasn't able to see it at all. I wouldn't be able to see New York Cover at all. So the bootleg made perfect sense to do so.
it's
Now they could take it off of Peacock and then I'm back to square one.
It's kind of like Batman 66 before they release that nice set that came out, or they have the Walmart releases now. I had to bootleg that. I had to buy it from a guy in Canada who recorded it off of FX and then sold it that way because of the sole fact I love that show. I wanted it physically. And then it was like what you were saying, Jaco, with the New York Undercover. It was in those CD paper slips and just stacked on top of each other right in there. And the case was designed perfectly for it too. But I mean, that was the way I had to get that. There was no other way for it.
But yeah, and I think the beautiful thing is what Dia was saying too, or was asking, is that like there's always going to be movies that we don't have. We don't have a digital copy for. We don't have physical media for. But for me, I have enough movies that I like, and ultimately most of my favorite movies are on physical media in some format. That's why I would just be content. There's always going to be some other stuff that I'm like, dang, Parenthood, I wish was on. WMC Master, everybody knows what that is. I would love for those things to be on physical, but they're not, I think, unless it's VHS. So for me, it's kind of like where I'm at now, I have everything that I would want to watch for a while, so I kind of would be content, I think.
Anybody trying to hear all that?
Can't be greedy.
Greed. That's how you get these big numbers.
Yeah.
I told you I struggle with it. Didn't I tell you?
All right. Well, all right. So that leads us to our final topic of the night, which brings it all the way back to the beginning. So what I want to ask all of us to go through, real quick, just give us 3 recommendations that you would either give younger you or a new collector. So I can start off first. Me personally, I would say, because I experienced this, as I talked about earlier, if I go back to the beginning of collecting, I would tell myself, try to hold on to that stuff that, has the most nostalgia or a lot of meaning to you. Try to hold on to it. Don't get rid of it. Don't throw it away. Hold on to it as long as you can, because eventually the thought of it's gonna come back in your mind. You're gonna wish you had it. Number 2, pretty much buy what you want. Don't let others influence you and tell you basically what they think you should have in your collection. And enjoy your collection is your collection. It's the best reflection of you. You should always feel like you have the best collection out of anybody who does this. And 3, I would say, spend your money wisely, of course. We always want to support the studios, support these big box locations or these online sites. Small businesses that are doing this. Just try to be smart about it. Like I said, buy what you want, be smart with your money. If it's a blind buy or something you're not gonna watch anytime soon, hold off on it a little bit. There's no reason to go ahead and pay $34.99 today if you're gonna do what most of us do anyway, and that's look at it, take a picture, throw it to the side until some point of time when we finally stop watching the same 5 movies we watched a million times, that we're going to open it later. Just buy it later when it's a better price for you.
But I have to do it for the content. I got to buy it for the content. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I would say 3. So 1, my first one is somewhat connected to what D-Ray said in terms of keeping things nostalgic. Take care of your collection from day one. There's probably a lot of stuff that we've collected, physical media or not, that maybe we didn't take so good care of it, and now it's like, damn, I wish I would have had it better. I would say, this is something that we absolutely love, you know what I mean? And so it's like, just take care of it. Like, treat it as a kid, a baby. And if you want to take extra measures to take care of it, it's a collection. That's what you're supposed to do. I would also say, when you get into, this is a twofold thing. When you get into collecting, try and see what's out there already, right? Like sometimes, a lot of us probably bought a format and maybe the next format was already out there. We could have got it for not too much more. But try and look for the format. And when you find a good deal on one of these aftermarket, just grab it. Grab it. Because I guarantee you, if you wait, it for some reason, unless it's just me, trying to get it at a later point, you're gonna waste more money. So if you see a real good deal, just if you have it and stuff, just jump on it. And then 3, Yeah.
I'm I'm sorry. Chime in on that. That is good advice and bad advice. I think if you've been in this game long enough, there's bumps and things you will learn. You will learn that when to wait and when not to wait. Like I see Tim said, studio stuff, you can wait, but it's really the still books. And if you're a slip cover, fanatic, you might have to jump on it. But they're producing slip covers more, so you really can't
But
wait.
Cal,
So
even
yeah,
TV shows, even some TV
right,
shows, like I know
yes.
I've seen some TV shows. I wish you'd grab it on a sale or you grab it on eBay or something, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden now the fifth season of this entire thing is cost
Hmm.
more than the first four. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but it's a give
it's
and take. It's subjective. What is time? So what is weight? Some people's weight is different than other people's weight. So I believe, like you're right, there are shows that was everywhere for a couple dollars. Now they're astronomical prices. But I think that I, for instance, most almost I'm going to be honest with you guys, almost everything I've ever wanted, just about I found, even if I had to wait a long time, I found for an even better price, and it just felt like a blessing. So
100%.
I'm content with waiting. But that Superman set came out, the Steelbooks. I didn't get it. I'm not paying those resale prices, and I every day kick myself for not getting it. So it's a give and take. Once in a while, you're going to strike out, but for the most part, guys, I say wait. Just saying.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of what it is. And then my third one I would say is, and it's probably closer to what Dior was saying too, is like everybody's collection is different. We're gonna have similarities. Somebody we may like 4Ks, you may like TV shows, wrestling DVDs, or but your collection is specific to who you are. But I don't know. I would urge people like enjoy other people's collection. Like I love seeing. If I'm a person that collects steelbooks, that's cool. But I love seeing people have other different types of collections. Like there's no need to be a format snob or a packaging snob. Like it's and that, I
Well,
guess it comes back to the nostalgic part. Like when I remember Ben pulled out a couple stuff that was nostalgic. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like I personally, I love seeing everyone's collection because there's gonna be something that's in there that I don't have, and it doesn't have to be a steelbook. It can be a VHS. It could be a laser disc. Like
Hmm.
so for me, it's kind of like be open when you're collecting. Be your specifics, but just kind of be open to seeing like other people's collection, and as a community enjoy other people's collection. Like it's not a competition. Like
No.
we're here for the absolute same purpose. We found
hmm
something that we enjoy. You find other
Hmm.
people that enjoy it as well. You make communication, and then you grow friendships, and then it grows from there. There's no need for people to be like, oh, my collection is better. Like it's a collection. We can all lose it today. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. So
oh,
just
you said
enjoy
that.
enjoy your collection and enjoy other people. You know what I mean? Like support and enjoy it. Yeah, those are my three.
Amen.
And
Okay.
if I hurt anybody feelings in the community, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Okay.
sorry like sorry. I'm saying just it is what it is.
Yeah.
Ben, I'll go last. Go ahead, Ben.
Cal.
I mean, I would be like, first one, be true to yourself. If you don't like a movie, don't go after and buy it just because you have a bunch of friends that enjoy it and you want to spend time with those friends watching a movie. If you don't like it, sell it to one of your friends. Have them enjoy it. Be true to yourself and what your tastes are. Second one is like Dakota and D Ray hinted at. Look at what's around you in the community and see, okay, they like this thing, or this guy over here, or this person likes this. Okay, I like that movie and that set that they have, and this movie over here. How can I feasibly combine those two that I love together? Type of that, and always look for the deals. Like you can wait and wait and wait. Like I'm kicking myself that I waited for so long to get Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, on from TV. I waited so long for that I almost had to pay an astronomical price for the what was it, season 4 for it, because it
Mm-hmm.
went.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 were easy to get. 4 is like super hard, like you were saying, Jagoda. But it's like at that time, if it's a show that's right then and there, and it's not, as soon as syndication doesn't start playing it, it would be the time to pick that up. We're always going to have Friends. We're always going to have Big Bang Theory out there. Why? Because those 2 shows are going to be on syndication forever. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, or unless you're like Gunsmoke celebrating a huge anniversary, they're not going to be released again. So
Right.
that's the thing. Be true to yourself and what you like to deal with. If you're a big animation fan, just collect animation, all sorts of it. If you're a fan of silent films, black and white films, collect that. Collect what you enjoy, and that's what your entire, in my opinion, that's what my collection's based off of, and that would be my advice to somebody.
Okay. Mine's would be, all right, you say three. So I say number one, assess the situation. So if you want to be a collector, what do you like? Really think about what you're getting into it for. Like if it's just about fun and you like it, then fine. If don't do it for the wrong reasons for competing, because there's guess what, guys? There's always somebody with more. And the people that think their collection is top notch and they're format snobs and they have the most, there are people that are quiet in this community that have 10 times the collection. So it's not about numbers, guys, or stuff. It's about what makes you happy, and like Dakota said, just enjoying it and enjoying each other. That's the community. You're supposed to, we're supposed to have that camaraderie with each other. To what do you like? Well, why do you like it? And oh, I have this. You share stuff like it. You don't have to have everything. And then there's people that want everything. That's a that's a tough hill to climb. But I think you got to look at what you're getting into it for, and also too, always remember this: if you collect long enough and you live long enough, you will see that times change. So are you going to be upset when this stuff withers away? Are you going to be upset when VHSs aren't worth anything anymore? They're coming back a little bit, but they're not what they were. When DVDs change and there's a Blu-ray format on the block, and then all right, now there's a 4K format on the block. Are you going to get upset because people do? Are you going to feel like, oh man, I have to buy everything over again? Or are you content with what you have? You're only going to, just think about how you'll feel, and if you want to continue this, I think that's it. And the second one I would think is patience. Patience, no matter what, whether it come to pricing, going out to get this stuff, just know to have the right composure and patience because it will help you out in the long run. Don't feel the urge to compete. Yeah, everybody bought it this week, but guess what? You're going to buy it 2 months from now for a lesser price. It's okay. You don't have to have everything because chances are most of us, I don't know about you guys, I buy some of this stuff day one and I don't watch it for 2, 3 years. I might have already seen it, so what? I'm not going to watch it again. I mean, I'm a huge superhero fan, but I I don't even watch the movies when I buy them half the time if I already seen them. I bought the Batman and I haven't opened it yet. So it's just, what's the point at the end of the day? Just get it on your time, and if you can be patient enough, why not wait for a
Mm-hmm.
better price? And I think we're seeing we're supporting media, and they're seeing the numbers are growing that we're supporting it. But also too, if you really look close, slipcovers are produced more mass now. We're seeing more of them. They're lasting longer. This stuff is dropping in price, so yeah, we can afford to wait. And lastly, it still revolves into patience. That's a thing. But don't don't do this, and how can I say? Don't, if this ain't for you, don't feel ashamed. Like don't just jump into this and waste your money just to be the cool kid. If you want to do this, do it at your own pace. And
Mm-hmm.
I think everything will fall into place. If you don't like collecting this, maybe you collect games or comic books, whatever the case, trading cards, I don't care. But it's just, don't do this for the wrong reasons. A lot of people get into this and then they jump out. I hate to see people leave, but that's just life. People just get rid of this stuff, and it's just, it never was a passion for them. And then they lose a lot of money because they just want to get rid of the stuff. So I just think, like, back to assessing the situation and having patience. Think about what you really want to do and really want to buy, and have fun. That's all. Stop being format snobs. It's If it's not on Blu-ray, secure that movie because you love it. Go get it. And if you're a horror or TV fan like I am, you do know you can't afford to be a format snob. You just got to get it how you can get it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my piece.
All right. Well, thank you to
What about?
everybody who's tuned in tonight. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Did you give yours? Come on, bruh.
Yeah,
Did you give
I gave
yours?
my
Yeah, he
three
did.
first.
Okay.
He went first.
Okay. Jacoda was long as hell, so I might have forgot. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, again, thank you everyone in the chat for being here tonight. Hopefully you got to know a little bit more about us, our beginning, our middle, and pretty soon you'll learn more about our end. Um, but again, thank you,
What?
these three guys, coming together, us assembling tonight with you guys, letting you know our personal taste, our preferences and things like that, and how we feel about certain aspects of collecting. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Please stay tuned for chapter 2 of Assembled coming next month. Make sure you are subscribed to all of our IGs, our YouTube accounts, all that
I
good
need
stuff, so you
y'all.
can be informed on what's coming up between the four of us. But once
Mhm.
again, you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you to the chat. Big shout out to Video J81 and Mr. Rigby for supplying us with some donations tonight. That's definitely appreciated. Never asked for, but thank you for doing it.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
to the next
Hey.
time, you guys. Yes, sir. Go ahead,
Oh, I'm
Kyle.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to get out of here. Can I make an announcement? Hey guys, if you do remember,
Yeah,
I know it's been a
sure.
long time. I I did recommend 10, and that was a little bit over a year ago. A lot of people joined me. All three of these fellas up here, Daniel, Timothy. Yes, I said Timothy. Mika, a lot of people joined, and it was fun. Blu-ray King, and I want to bring it back. So starting, if not next week, the week after, we will be doing qualifying rounds, and I'm gonna bring that back. And I would love, if you're interested, hit me up and let me know. I'll
Nice.
see if I could get you in, and we're going to try to get that back on the road. And the other content to the people that I've done things with, you know who you are. It will be coming right behind it. So thank you.
All right, guys. Anybody else got anything? Got any news or anything?
I have a rewind coming out this month. The movie is Guess Who? I enjoy that movie, and my guest, I'm going to do it right here. It's this man right here, 4K D-Ray, coming
Yes,
back,
sir. Yep.
doing another one, doing a solo one this time because we had the group here. And look for the four of us to be doing another rewind here shortly. Just have to set up the dates. I haven't totally decided yet if it's going to be House Party 2 or Class Act, because I know we've all wanted to talk about both of them. So that's happening sometime within this year. So next couple months. So stay tuned for that as well.
Cool.
All right. So there you have it, you guys. Once again, thanks for assembling with us tonight. Till the next time, you guys. We are out of here.
Gone.
Peace.
Peace.
Salute.
Bye.